Okay, so it was really interesting to think of the idea of our own vibrations that we give off, even so much as maybe our light as well, that could be a form of Morse code. Now, I didn't look too much into it, why Morse, why they named it Morse code, but I will be doing that shortly because I'm going to be doing some more of my studying and my book work and stuff like that. So I will get more into it because I'm interested. I want to know, I want to learn more. And that's how I've been doing things lately, when I want to know about certain things, or at least learn about certain things, because if you think about it, there's a vast amount of information and I don't know anything, but I remember a whole lot. And so, doing book work and reading up on certain things, especially when it comes to ancestral lineage or um, bloodlines and stuff like that too. It's been something that's really caught my attention. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and I will find out more about that. Whether or not I make another video, it doesn't matter. And then another thing I wanted to touch on too is something completely different. Seahorses, the male seahorse usually is the one, so they say, that carries the, is the ones that get pregnant, right? And I was thinking about that. That's very interesting. But at the same time, I was like, well, if that's the case, then they would technically, it would just be reversed roles or reversed energies. So they would technically still be like female. Anyways, that's just the way I was thinking about that. But the way they, now, if you've ever done this, okay, this sounds really weird. Stay with me now. If you've ever breathed in air into your stomach just so you could burp or belch or whatever, some people have that control within their, what would you call that? Would it be diaphragm? Some people have that control where they can suck the air in and then burp it or breathe it out. Okay, which I'm able to do. That is really neat. And we all do these sort of things where we learn about our body and stuff when we're growing up and what we could do. But one thing's fascinating when it comes to the seahorse, it's almost like it sucks in water to help project and propel more through its, I'm just going to say through the base part there, but almost like the abdomen too, right? Because the belly goes out like that. Anyways, it sucks in and then it expels it. And this is like PG 18 plus, by the way. Click off. If you are familiar with the workings of a female anatomy, you can breathe air in. It's not necessarily a breath, but you can have control. It's not just the Kegels and stuff that you can have control over, but you can suck air in or have air trapped in the lower region, and having control of that, not by force or anything like that, but just having control, the ability to be able to do that. I was wondering if that would apply, just like I made a video about the whole births and orgasms, how the clitoral stimulation, how that would be able to allow the release of certain endorphins and stuff like that to help, and also create lubrication, moisture, whatever you want to call it, for the process of giving birth, so it's less painful. So on top of that whole thing as well, the idea of that, I believe people in Europe and other countries have studied that sort of thing, and how it's not just like for sexual pleasure. There's actually a function for it in order to give birth. So on top of that is also the idea that if you have control over the muscles, specific ones, in order to breathe air into the cavity and create the space and allow the delivery to be a lot easier, That's another fascinating way too of thinking about it, because right now currently we do, as far as I'm seeing, a lot of people more and more are getting the C-section, which I don't know if is necessary. I'm sure if it's like life threatening, but it seems to be like a go-to now just for convenience. And I don't think that it's very fair to the woman, because a lot of damage can happen. But anyways, that aside, that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, the whole idea of combining all those things together and learning about the woman's body so that she doesn't need to get a needle to be numb from the waist down. Because I guess I've heard stories of where it doesn't even kick in until after, and then it takes a long time to wear off. And I've heard lots of different things. And also, the receiving position would be on your back. And then the delivery, I would say, should be more of a squatting position, upright. So there's a lot of ideas I had about that as well. It's not necessarily, the easiest way of going about it. I know that, well, I don't know, but I remember a whole lot. Giving birth in water is supposed to be a lot more comfortable and can be soothing and stuff like that. And it's usually, yeah, I believe, like, even our ancestors did that. The squatting position is much more effective, and not necessarily laying on your back with your feet up in the air, which is actually a receiving position, is the most effective at giving birth, because then you're not necessarily as equally able to use those muscles, certain ones, to help you deliver. Now, this is me saying all of this because I've been looking more into certain things, not because I want to have children of my own, but I'm fascinated. And it's just something that's really caught my attention. And I want to learn about specific things, especially if I ever did, but it's not my goal. And I personally have never given birth. But if there is a way to help women naturally do things more effectively when it comes to delivering a child, I would say we should all be looking more into that, so that the women don't have to necessarily suffer certain things, or have to have certain medications or needles or anything like that, or be cut open.